Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In today's lesson, we will learn about cybersecurity. First, we will dive into the detail of cybersecurity concept. Then, we will explore the history of cybersecurity. And in the last, we will learn about key principles of cybersecurity. Let's start by asking what's cybersecurity? When you hear this phrase, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Some might think of cybersecurity in terms of safety and protection, while others might associate it with hacking. Each person's perception is based on the information they have heard about this field. In reality, cybersecurity is currently one of the most important fields that has become indispensable in recent years, and its importance continues to grow over time. Alright, the second question is, why is cybersecurity important and why has it gained prominence only in recent years? Where was it before? The reason for this is that technology has advanced significantly in recent time and has become indispensable in everyday life. The internet is now present in all devices, from mobile phone and laptops to computer, and all of them require security. But why? All these devices and matters mentioned contain personal and sensitive data, and the function of cybersecurity here is to protect and perceive the data. So, from what we have mentioned, we can conclude that task of cybersecurity is protection, whether it's protecting device, data, information, or everything else in digital space. But what does it protect against? The answer is that it protects against threats and attacks. Cybersecurity threats, it's any event that poses a risk to technology in its various forms, as well as all data and information. And cybersecurity attack, it's unwanted attempts made on systems, such as destroying system, disabling them from function, or perhaps unauthorized access to data, system, or the internet network. To simplify what we have mentioned and understand it better, let's take a real-life example to understand the meaning of both threats and attacks. Suppose we have two-story house with doors and window. To protect this house from threats, we must safeguard it from any event that could pose a danger to the house. Possible threat could include leaving the door windows open, and perhaps the threat could be internal, such as forgetting to turn off the gas or leaving fire burning. All of these threats and others affect the security of the house, and the presence of these threats could lead to attack. But how? We mentioned that attacks are unwanted attempts made on system. Applying this definition to the house analogy, attacks on the house could be attempt burglary or a break-in, an attempt to eavesdrop or someone entire in the house who is not family member and is not allowed entry. So, the threats we mentioned, such as leaving the door or windows open, could lead an attack, which burglary. The same goes for electronic system. For example, a company with employees and each employee has a computer or laptop. Some employees might write in their password on sticky notes and place it next to the device. This is considered a threat, similar to giving a stranger the key of your house. So, another employee might come in when you are not around to use a device and steal data and work-related information. Therefore, cybersecurity is very important for protection against threat and attacks which pose challenge for cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is a rapidly evolving field, and professionals in the field always need to update and increase the security measure continuously. We mentioned that the task of cybersecurity is to protect everything technical and related to it, includes system, data, network, and financial transaction. Any mistake or flaw in protection could lead data theft, and data theft could lead to financial loss, and any of these issues for companies represent a million in losses. Now that we understand what attacks are, we want to get an idea of the damage caused by cybersecurity attacks. First, data theft, whether of employees, customers, or money. Second, financial loss for companies in millions. Third, damaging in company's reputation. For example, if it's feared that a company's customers' data has been stolen, people will avoid dealing with this company because their data is at risk, and they will warn other people about it, which is significant loss for a company and its reputation. Fourth thing is companies are also exposed to legal liabilities. For example, a company whose data or customers' data has been stolen could face legal action because it's responsible for company to protecting the data and not exposing it to risk. The last thing, attacks can also threaten nationality security. What's meant by nationality security threat? It's mean that if government, military organization or ministries are subject to cyber attack, this could lead to distribution and infrastructure, theft or sensitive or classified data, or even theft of individuals' data such as financial information, identity numbers, phone numbers, or personal identification information. So cybersecurity is important for protection against these attacks, such as using strong password and implementing two-factor authentication. These simple measures will help people limit and protect themselves from threats and attacks, and we will dive into this matter in detail later. Now that we have learned some basic about cybersecurity and its definition, it's crucial to understand its origin and how it began, when it emerged, and what caused its emergence. Cybersecurity greatly emerged with the advancement of technology and network, but there is no specific date for the emergence of the term cybersecurity. However, there are several important historical events that shape the emergence of cybersecurity. It all began in the 17th. In 1970, the use of computers began in a very basic form, and the presence of computer means the extent of data and information. This led them to think about finding a way to protect this data and information. In 1980, the prevalence of computer and networks increased, necessitating the need for security. In 1986, computer virus emerged for the first time, causing damage to data and system. Attack escalated from 1990 onward. To combat this attack, security firewalls were developed to control traffic, and encryption techniques were devised to protect data and information. Virus defense methods were developed, but new attack and techniques continued to emerge. In 21st century, particularly in 2017, attacks intensified, posing increased risk. The Equifax breach occurred in July of that year, where 140 million people data, including names, address, social security numbers, date of birth, email addresses, and credit card number were stolen. Finally, in 2020, a major cyber attack named SolarWinds was discovered. It targeted a US-based company called Cybersecurity, which has provided a network and system management solution. This attack impacted governmental and private entities alike. This is just a brief overview of the history that led to the emergence of cybersecurity. There have been other notable attacks, as illustrated in the following charts. In 2016, Yahoo experienced two breaches, leaking a large amount of users' data each time. Also, in 2016, approximately 412 million users' data from the Friend Finder network were leaked. In 2017, there was an online spam attack involving the mass sending of the email containing a virus aimed at stealing sensitive information. In 2019, several notable breaches occurred. First, Aadhaar, the Indian identity system, was breached, exposing data of nearly 1 billion users. Marriott International, a global hospitality company, had its data breached in November 2018, with approximately 383 million guests' accounts compromised, containing names, booking detail, and credit card information. In May of the same year, Twitter experienced a flaw in its password storage system, leading to the leak of nearly 330 million password and user data. In 2019, the first major financial breach occurred in America, with approximately 885 million accounts compromised. In 2020, a breach targeted Microsoft, resulting in the leak of 250 million users' data. Finally, in 2021, a breach affected Facebook, leading to the leak of 533 million users' data. All these breaches among many others, underscored the necessity of the cybersecurity and its continuous development and education to enable individuals to protect themselves. After familiarizing ourselves with the history of cybersecurity and some of the most notable attacks targeting virus companies over the years, let's now move on the understand of the fundamental principle of cybersecurity. As mentioned earlier, cybersecurity is concerned with the protecting all things technical. It's essential to safeguard system and network and data from any threats, attack, or unauthorized access that could lead to data theft or modification. To implement protection and prevent any harm or data loss, we need to understand the basic principle, often referred to as the CIA triangle or the security triangle. We have a triangle composed of 3 sides, each side representing one of the fundamental principles that must be applied to achieve security. The first side is confidentiality. In the field of cybersecurity, it's crucial to maintain the confidentiality of our information and data, strictly preventing anyone from accessing the information unless they have a legitimate authorization. Why legally? Because some individuals might impersonate others to access their information, which is unacceptable. How do we achieve confidentiality? By using a various methods include following security policies, whether for an application or an organization, which must be strictly adhered to. Second, using various encryption techniques. Third, implementing access management techniques to control who has access to the information. And the last thing, employing identity verification technologies, whether through biometric message or ID numbers. We utilize all these measures to preserve the confidentiality of information. The second side is integrity. Integrity means ensuring the accuracy of information and that is not being tampered with or altered. Now, let's consider 2 students, Muhammad and Fahad. Muhammad sent a Fahad message that says, "How are you, Fahad?" The teacher informed me that we will be working on a project together. The content of this message is not supposed to change at all, otherwise we will have lost the integrity conditions. Imagine if, while Muhammad was sending the message to Fahad, there was a hacker in the middle who intercept the message and modify it before it reached Fahad. In this case, we would have lost the integrity condition and the information would no longer be reliable. Alright, to prevent anyone, even if they manage to access the message, from modifying it, we can use several methods include. First, encryption the message. Even if the hacker sees it, they won't be able to open or modify the message. Second, we can also use what's called a digital signature. But what is it? A digital signature is an electronic signature that uses a set of mathematical algorithms to verify the authenticity and integrity of the message. We will dive deeper into digital signature in the final chapter, but let's take a simple example to clarify it. We mentioned that Muhammad sent a message to Fahad. While sending the message from Muhammad, device suppose a code is added to the message. Fahad's device is supposed to verify this code upon receiving the message. If the code matches, it's indicate that the message is intact and hasn't been altered or modified. Some of you might wonder where this happened in the real life. In reality, this verification process occurred every day with every message, whether on WhatsApp message or Messenger, Instagram, Telegram, or any other communication platform. All these platforms are designed with algorithms to ensure the safety and security of messages. After understanding the integrity, let's move to the third side of the security triangle, which is availability. Availability ensures that data and information can be accessed when needed. In other words, if I'm currently working in a company and I need access to certain data, it should be available for me to access. To illustrate further, let's assume that I have a set of student grade stored in Excel file on my computer. A malfunction occurred on this computer that resulted in the deleting of the file. However, I had another copy of the file on USB flash drive. In this case, I still have availability because the data I need is still accessible. And when I need it, I found it even in the event of a malfunction and loss of the original file. But if the file was deleted and I didn't have another copy, then I would have lost the availability condition. So, to achieve the availability condition, we must have copied of the data by duplicating it or do a backup and storing it in a multiple different location. Additionally, we need to have a plan in place to access the data in case of disasters, whether environment like earthquake or incident like attack and breach that result in a file damage and loss. Also, availability can sometimes be compromised, but how? Let's clarify this with a simple example. For instance, I have a website specialized in creating tests for students, and this website can only handle up to 20 requests per second. Then an attack send a 50 requests per second, causing what's known as a denial of service DOS attack. This result a 503 error message indicating that the data and information on the website can be accessed due a DOS attack, where the request received by the website executed its capacity. So now we have familiarized ourselves with the complete security triangle, and when all three sides are fulfilled, security is achieved. In conclusion, in this video, we learned about concept of cybersecurity and explained it, when it began, and the most famous attack that occurred. We also detailed a fundamental principle of cybersecurity known as security triangle. Now the video question. What's the difference between a DOS attack and DDoS attack? Write the answer in the comment. If you have any question, please write it down in comment or contact us through a social media account provided in the description. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.